Hello and welcome. My name is Telisa and today we are doing a mobility for men kind of animal flow class. All you need is yourself, a mat, a broom or some sort of stick, access to a wall, and if you're really tight in the hips, you might need a chair, bench, pillow, something just to lift you up a little bit. But otherwise, let's all come to meet in a seated position, feet out in front of us, and all we're going to do is lower our knees to one side and the other. So this right off the hop is where you might be a little bit too tight in the hips and you might need to sit on an elevated surface anywhere from this high to this high and just make the movement a little bit slower. But we're just lubricating through the joints here. Windshield washer style, right and left. Hands are supporting us behind us, so we are reclined a little bit. And then we're going to stop on one side. So we're in a 90-90 position. Tent the fingers out in front of you, hinging over this front leg. And we're just going to lower and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come upright, but still hinge forward a little bit because this makes it a little bit easier. And lift the back ankle off the ground. If you can't even lift the ankle, that's fine. Thinking about it will still help build the strength. But if this is too easy for you, you can bring your torso more upright, and we're going to lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands behind you, shift to the other side, 90-90 with the opposite leg in front. Fingertips out in front of you, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay leaning forward to make this easier and lift the back foot, or just think about lifting the back foot. And if you want it a little bit more difficult, come more upright and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm just scooching back a little bit to try to get both my knees in contact with the mat, because from here what we're going to do, you can see I'm shimmying my feet in a little bit closer, and then I'm lifting hips up, windshield wiper to the other side, same thing, lift, lower, switch. Let's do each side one more time. And come back through center. We're now going to come into a yogic squat. So our feet are about a little bit wider than hip width. See if you can get your heels all the way down. If you can't, that's fine. You might be using your hands to support you. But all we're doing from here is straightening through the legs, trying to keep our rib cage close to our thighs, and lowering down. Straighten and lower. A few more times with this. 2 and 3. Let's come back down. We're going to come to sit on our bums. And we're going to do a little sequence here, a mobility sequence. So doing the best that you can, using your hands, cheating wherever you need to, and maybe just working our way up to eventually doing the sequence fully. So I'm scooting my heels in as close to my bum as possible because that makes this easier. So if you can't get your heels in, then that's just something right off the bat that you're working towards. Knees are splayed open, so there's space for your upper body. Using your hands to pull yourself through, coming up onto the toes. Knees come together. Lower down to the knees. Feet can separate a little bit. Bring one hand to the heel for a half camel. Other side. And then we're reversing that. So sitting the bum back, coming all the way back, sit the bum down. Let's do that 2 more times. Pull through, lower the knees, half camel one side, and the other side. Lower the bum, shift back, sitting down. Come through, lower the knees, half camel, lower the bum, shift back, sitting down. Let's come to standing. And we're going to do another little sequence here. So we're going to cross one ankle on top of the other. Again, if you have to use your hands, then by all means, but eventually maybe working our way up to doing this little sequence without using the hands. So with ankles crossed, we're sitting the bum down into a pseudo cross-legged position. Roll over your feet so that you're coming to a kneeling position. Tuck the toes behind you, and we're just popping back into this low squat like we just did. And stand up. And let's do that again, but crossing the opposite ankle on top. Sitting down in our cross-legged position, rolling over the ankles, coming to a kneeling position with toes tucked, shifting back into this low squat, and standing up. Play around with that a little bit more. Of course, with these videos, you're always more than welcome to pause and stick with something a little bit longer. What we're going to move on to now from a standing position is working into the shoulders, the upper body mobility. We're going to do two different versions. The first is a little bit more accessible, so you might do this for both. But coming to a wall, we're just bringing the palm of our hand to the wall and leaning into it, feeling a nice shoulder pec stretch. Come out of it a bit, bring your hand up high, lean into it. Just changes the sensation of the stretch a little bit, and then bring the hand low. And switch sides. So I like to start with the hand in line with the shoulder, roughly. Lean into it. Come out, shift hand. Feel the stretch, come out. Lower the hand. And come out. So if that was enough for you, stick with that. If you want a little bit more, this is where we grab our broomstick. Now, the wider our grip is, the easier this is to pull we're doing shoulder dislocate. So the wider the grip, the easier it is to get around. So as wide as I can on this, I'm moving slow and I'm shrugging the shoulders. I'm really pulling my hands far away from me to create as much space through that shoulder joint. So I'm avoiding any bone on bone rubbage. Push, push, push. Going forward and back. If that feels really easy and you want more of a challenge, you shorten the distance, the width of your hands. And again, really shrug and pull your hands away from your body in every direction. Bring it forward. And now we're going to do this, but around the world style. So right hand staying down, left arm comes back and around. And now left hand stays down, right hand up and around. Reverse the direction, up and around, up and around. One more time, both sides. Up and around, up and around, and back. Up, down, up, down. Let's set our broom off to the side or whatever we may have been using there. And we're going to come into a little bit more dynamic movement here. So let's come down onto our mat. I'm starting at the back of it, and we're going to come into a tabletop position, toes tucked, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, roughly, and then lift your knees so they're hovering off the ground. Now, opposite hand, opposite foot, we're just crawling forward. Once you come all the way forward in the space that you have, reverse that. Same thing, opposite hand, opposite foot, come forward one more time, and back one more time. So that can be called bear crawl or cat crawl, and then some people call this version the bear crawl, where we lift our hips up so we're like in a downward facing dog. Same thing, opposite hand, opposite foot, move forward at the same time, crawling forward and reversing that. Let's do one more length, forward. And all the way back. Let's come to the middle of our mat. I want to do a little pull through here. So from this tabletop position with the knees lifted, I'm rotating my weight onto my right hand and left foot as my right foot pulls through. Left arm lifts up. Come back through center. Opposite side. Do that a few times. Get the groove of it. And come back through center. And we're going to come to the back of our mat again. Now we're gonna work on our gorilla or ape traverse. So we're moving laterally here. So from a low yogic squat, I'm gonna place both my hands to the side that I wanna move to, and then straighten through the legs, lift the hips, bringing the weight into my hands as I hop my feet to the side. Do it again, and then reverse direction. So make this as small as you need to as you get used to the movement, and then as you get the hang of it, you can make it a little bit bigger, get a little bit more hang time, and come back again. Good work. The next one we're going to do is our frog kind of walk hop, similar to what we just did, except we're just moving forward and back. So bringing the hands in front of us from our low squat, reach forward, straighten through the legs, lift the hips, and hop the feet forward. Again, make this as small as you need to start off, and then make it bigger as you get more comfortable with your weight on the hands. To move backwards, bring your hands towards your feet, jump the feet back. Let's come into a reverse tabletop for our crab walk here. So have the fingers pointed behind you, towards you, out to the side, play around with it, see what you like. Lift the hips, get a nice stretch through the shoulders, through the chest here. And then you can lower the hips a little bit. And just like with our bear crawl and our cat crawl, you're moving opposite foot and hand, walking the length of your mat or the room that you're in, going forward and backward. Let's do it one more time. Let's come to the middle of our mat. We're now going to combine our crab and our cat. So let's start in our crab pose. I'm going to roll over onto my left foot, left hand to come all the way through into this knees lifted tabletop position. And now I'm going to flip back over to my crab. But this time I'm keeping the weight on my left foot and my right hand as I pull my right foot through, lift the hips, and then left arm comes down. Let's come back from crab into this tabletop knees lifted position. Pull the right foot through, lift the hips, and now let's reverse it. So right hand, right foot, come through, and then left hand, right foot as my left leg comes through, pull the hips up. Let's come around again. So we take up a lot more space with that movement, so don't worry about staying in one static position. But again, just getting some movement into our bodies, feel a little bit more primal, have fun with that. Again, with any form of movement, don't worry so much what it looks like. Focus more on the sensations in your body as you do it. Get used to it. We're always building these neural pathways when we try new movement. So if it feels awkward at first, don't give up. That doesn't mean you're not made for it. All it means is that you're forging these new pathways in your brain, and they just need a little bit of time and practice to smooth out so that it can feel a little bit more natural. So stick with it. Good job. Thank you for joining me. I always appreciate it. If you got something, anything out of this class, I would greatly appreciate if you would like, comment, subscribe, or share it with friends and family. I hope to see you again. Namaste.